Hey, how's it going? It's John Suntress, and welcome to Word Balloon. You found us. That's excellent. If this is your first time, please consider subscribing to us via iTunes or Stitcher or certainly Last FM and all the various places you can find podcasts. Word Balloon is invariably there. Subscribe. Please let me know what you think of the show. Write ratings over at Apple's podcast platform and give me a review. You can say nice things, you can say lousy things. You suck, John, and let me tell you why. Happy to hear your feedback either way. But do me a favor and like me where you can and leave comments. And also, as always, email me, john@wordballoon.com. I'm interested in your feedback. I'm interested in what you're thinking about the content that I put here. Also, I have a YouTube channel under Word Balloon. Would you please consider subscribing there? I've got about 400 plus subscribers currently. I'd like to get to at least 1,000 and start generating more video content. So go to YouTube and click on the Word Balloon channel and please subscribe.
Terrificon, Connecticut's biggest Comic-Con, returns to Mohegan Sun, August 9th to the 11th. Meet Billy D. Williams, Val Kilmer, Doctor Who's John Barrowman, and the voices from Animaniacs and Thundercats. New England's largest guest list of comic book artists from DC and Marvel Comics is at Terrificon on August 9th to the 11th at Mohegan Sun. Tickets on sale now at Terrificon.com.
Hey everybody, welcome back to Word Balloon, the comic book conversation show. John Suntress here, man. San Diego Comic-Con just a couple days away, and I know when it gets going, I'm not going this year. As I always say, I feel like a kid with a broken leg watching from his window at the street and watching all of his friends on the street playing and having a good time, and you're stuck upstairs because you got a cast on from your hip down to your toes, you can't move, and everybody else is having a great time. I'll get over it. Don't worry. Terrificon is less than a month away, and I'll be there in August, and then in September I'm going to Rose City, so I'll definitely make up for missing Comic-Con. But, Comic-Con is always great. I love it. I love it, as I say. It's very expensive summer camp, as I always like to say. And it's because it's all your great friends. We're all together. We're having a blast. And it's really expensive to go, even if you get a press pass for the con itself. Hotels and food and running around, and the airfare isn't cheap. So but I still love it. But I wanted to give you another memory of Comic-Con time, and that is this great conversation from the Oh Yeah podcast with Art Baltazar and Franco, the great team behind Oh Yeah Comics, the Oh Yeah Comics stores, Tiny Titans, Superman Family Adventures, so many great comics over the years, and a good friend of ours, Gail Simone. Gail loves these guys, and I knew that. And Gail likes me. I'm gonna step out and say maybe she likes me. I think she does. She and her husband Scott are incredibly gracious to me, and in fact, out of the blue, last month she's like, "Hey, we got to talk," and I'm like, "Yeah." There are obvious big comic book guests that I bug on a semi-bi-yearly basis, twice a year, about every 6 months if we haven't talked, and I just kind of rattle the cages and email them or message them and say, hey, we haven't talked forever. And Gail is one of those people, but thank God she reached out to me. I'm hoping that our schedules will sync up, that we do talk. I would like to talk to her as we did here on the phone, but I know too that she prefers a lot of times to do interviews at conventions because she's already there, and she can devote her time to writing and family, and I get it. I totally get it. But this is a great conversation. We had a lot of fun doing this. This was a very early Oh Yeah podcast. I'm looking for the date. 7 years ago. This was a few months before that Mark Waid conversation I released earlier. But this is Gail talking about her runs on the New 52, on Batgirl and Firestorm. You'll hear her secret origins, her days as a hairstylist, as she was breaking into the business. And I had a few questions about story structure and also the digital audience, which was a kind of a still brand new thing back in 2011. And all of a sudden, Franco decides to answer the question. Now, this is my great social faux pas that I do at conversations, at conventions or hangouts or whatever, and all of a sudden I slip into reporter mode, and I really want to know a specific person's opinion on a subject. and someone else in the circle will decide to start to answer. And as I say at the end of this conversation, that my sports radio gene kicks in, because I remember being very admonished when I was a junior host on a sports radio show, and me and the co-host were either asking a coach or a reporter or somebody their opinion on something. I started to answer, and on the break, the other host is like, "Hey, don't ever answer for, the guest. That is not our job. We are here to ask questions. They give us the answers. When I want your answer, I'll ask you." And that was lesson learned. And so I became that guy to Franco in this conversation when he decided to start to answer, because, again, he thought we were just hanging out and having a good conversation. I'm like, no, man, I'm doing background here. This is when Word Balloon actually becomes a bit of a journalistic body, and I really want to know what a creator thinks of a change in the status quo. So this was my question, and you will hear the anger in my voice, and I really did. I apologize to Franco. You'll hear that too as soon as we let Gail go. But it made me laugh. I thought it was a pretty funny bit. And I think you'll enjoy hearing me put my foot in my mouth and be a schmuck as we talk to Gail Simone. A great throwback interview on today's Word Balloon. It's brought to you by Aftershock Comics, the industry's fastest-growing independent publishing company, promoting new and established comic audiences to read dangerously. They're calling 2019 the year of reading dangerously. Look, they've got great titles that are out right now. Joe Pruitt's horror anthology Shock, Cullen Bunn's Knight's Temporal is coming up, Matthew Klickstein's You Are Obsolete is coming up. There are things like Christabella's Trustfall and Tim Seeley's Dark Red. They can sit very proudly along the list of other Aftershock creations, things like The Brothers Dracul from Cullen Bunn, Dark Ark from Cullen Bunn, Animosity from Marguerite Bennett, and great Garth Ennis stuff like A Walk Through Hell and Jimmy's Bastards. Unbelievable stuff. We've been talking to top Aftershock writers and artists about some of their big books. We will continue to do so in the weeks ahead. But you don't have to wait. You really need to check out their stuff. Go to their website. You'll find full story descriptions, preview pages, and the diamond codes on these books to order through your local shop at AftershockComics.com. Word Balloon is also brought to you by the League of Word Balloon listeners. Thank you, League, for your support via Patreon. If you want to support Word Balloon, go to patreon.com/wordballoon. Thank you very much. You're helping keep the lights on here, League of Word Balloon listeners. Okay, without further ado, let's get into our conversation now with Gail Simone. A really fun talk. And again, I think you can hear the joy. I hope I didn't scare her off. She had talked to me after that in subsequent Word Balloons. But this was a fun conversation. Then I don't remember if I ever released this on the regular Word Balloon feed. So from 2011, right before DC's New 52. It's going to be interesting to hear what DC is doing with the losses of Vertigo and Mad Magazine. God, there's not even going to be a DC booth at Comic-Con. They are going to be at the Warner Brothers booth, which is literally on the other side of the convention hall. It's that's where they have the TV stuff and the movie stuff going on. Very, very interesting. So I look forward to reports of how the Warner Brothers booth looks differently and all of that. And I'm sure we'll be covering that on the Oh Yeah podcast as well as when I talk to creators who go this weekend to San Diego. But I am very curious to hear what we have. But in the meantime, enjoy this pre-San Diego talk from several years ago with Gail Simone on Word Balloon.
Oh, yeah, she's a writer of many DC comics because I'm going to really, really promote DC while I can right now. And but it's but you're awesome, Gail.
You are. We've wanted you on here for a while, and we finally got you. Oh, thank you. You're so sweet. So we do want to start you out with a couple of things, and you write one of my favorite books, and that's The Secret Six. And it's very, very demented, and I like it. I don't know why I like it so much.
Normal and sane.
I mean, we do Tiny Titans, and Secret Six is so way on the other end of the spectrum, and it's so demented that I love it. But
and that's why I love Tiny Titans too. It's so different from.
Oh, right on. There needs to be a Catman in there somewhere.
Although Tiny Titans can be quite demented.
Oh yeah, it can. In our own perverse way.
It's the only book written by the two largest guys in comics, making books for the smallest people in comics.
And see, there you go, calling me fat again. I don't really appreciate it.
Oh, sorry, dude.
That's all right.
Obviously, you guys haven't met Joe Bennett.
Oh man. Oh man. No, I haven't.
He's the largest guy. He's like 70 feet tall.
Oh man, I'm gonna give him a lot of love then. That's awesome.
That's awesome. Oh yeah, Joe Bennett.
With this new DC reboot, and they're rebooting all the costumes and everything, are you gonna really fight for a Catman costume reboot? Because I'm thinking he could go with a nice codpiece.
Oh,
well, that's underneath. That's already underneath. Come on.
Oh yeah, underneath.
So is it just
he just doesn't run around? Yeah, he just doesn't run around in it. He's either costumed or nude. I mean, why do we need an in between?
You don't.
Yeah. Just have them all nude all the time.
Yeah, exactly.
Oh yeah, Gail.
Well, I don't know. That might get tiring. Then you wouldn't have the suspense of, oh, come on, please get nude.
I would hate to see how he gives himself a bath if he's Catman, but I digress.
Okay. I am too demented to continue on this conversation.
All right, we'll clean it up. Don't worry about it.
All right.
And also, I think the technical term is DC relaunch.
Oh yeah. Oh, it's not. Yeah, we were saying reboot this whole time.
Yeah.
That's all right.
I'm hearing relaunch, so that's the word I'm using right now.
Did Dan call you up and say, all right, enough with the reboot? It's launch.
No.
Stop it. All right.
No, that was just me.
All right.
All right. Then we'll go with that. Yes, ma'am. Whatever you say, ma'am.
Like launch.
They can reprimand me if I'm wrong.
It's funny because we've been rebooting this this podcast. Every episode is a reboot. So this is issue 1 of a reboot.
Yeah, we start over from the beginning with every podcast.
It's very
exactly.
true.
That's the way to do it. Keep people guessing.
Awesome.
Hey, Gail, you're quite the social media maven, if I may. And I got to ask because I'm totally confused by this Google Plus. And you obviously just jumped right in and did your thing as you always do, no matter if it's message boards or Twitter or Facebook. So, like, what is it about Google Plus other than, well, everybody seems to be doing it and I better be there? Do you like it better?
It's kind of early to tell, I think. So, we'll see. I just got to check it out. And the reason that I can get to jump on is I just ask a lot of questions in the beginning and have lots of people that help me figure this out. I'm so far from a technical wizard that it's not even funny. Technology and I are at war constantly.
Yet you use it so well. You're one of the loudest and angriest text-wise people online, which is good. We all love it. It's good rants.
I have fun with it, yeah.
Yeah. Well, I was going to say, according to your tweets...
I don't need help getting to it. I mean, in the beginning with the new stuff that comes up.
Setting it up and everything?
Yeah.
Well, according to your tweets from the other day, I've started an online campaign to free all the people in your basement. So how many people are you actually holding down there?
I don't know. I lost count.
Oh, man.
You know what? I was on I just was on Twitter maybe 2 months, 3 months, but I'm kind of new. And you were one of the first people I signed up to follow. And then I kept telling Johnny and Franco, I was like, man, Gail Simone tweets all the time. So I unfriended you and unfollowed you like 3 times. And I'm currently following you again, but this is like the 4th time already. So, but this last week,
you're probably just like, why can't you just shut up?
Yeah, and you finally, for a while I was only following like 5 people. I'm up to 24 now. So your tweets are not the only ones I'm reading no more, which is good. but that was hard to do. I was like, why is this still some insight? Yeah, that's true. And then I learned that.
I'm really fast at it.
Oh, that's cool. I learned that you were a hairdresser from the tweets too.
Yep.
You know what?
I'm not anymore, but I was.
But you know what? You do have really nice hair.
You do.
Oh,
very
thank
nice.
you. I don't do it myself anymore, though.
Oh. Why not?
Is it someone you formerly work with, Gail, or I would imagine being a former hairdresser, you've got the eye for who can cut well. So who do you trust your hair to?
Once I decide, I don't sit there and tell them what to do.
Oh, sure.
I go to a young woman. It's about an hour and a half away from my town, so I don't go in the town that I had my hair salon in.
Okay.
I go out of town.
Awesome.
And what's the young lady's name? Because we could give her a shout out.
Yeah, we could.
Her name's Allie, and her salon is called the Mothership Salon.
The
Oh, yeah.
mothership.
Oh yeah,
oh, yeah,
Mothership.
Ellie at the Mothership.
Hey.
Hey. I think I said Mudgership,
No,
man.
Mothership Salon.
not Mudger. Mothership. Hey.
Now, because these guys are freelancers, they like a lot of daytime television. And Wendy Williams is a particular favorite of Art's. I don't know if you knew that, Gail.
Oh, yeah.
Totally true.
my
Totally
God,
true.
Art.
Yeah.
What is up with that?
Well, she's not the only one I like, but she's up there, yeah.
Well, I know that.
I know.
Go ahead. What do you like?
I have learned, well, I don't watch daytime TV. I'm sorry to say. I have learned, though, that artists do. And I said, I can't work. I have to have total silence. I have to be in the cave. I won't even
Sure.
take phone calls in my office. I come and sit at the kitchen table because if I take phone calls in my office, then my family thinks that it's okay that they can call me and knock on the door if they hear me and they're talking. So I have all these really strict rules about that. And, excuse me.
Ooh.
And, oh man, I lost my train of thought. That was crazy.
I strict
People
rules
bother
about-
you when you're working.
Oh yeah, yeah. And I learned from artists that they don't like to. Most of them don't like to just sit there in silence in a vacuum and draw. So
Yeah.
every artist I know is really up to date on what's going on,
Yeah.
around the clock
Yeah.
on television, and they're always asking me, "Do you
In
watch
full
this?"
disclosure.
No.
Yeah, right, yeah.
In full disclosure, I've watched 32 episodes of Doctor Who in the last 5 days.
Yeah. I've
See, it's
since...
totally different for me. I've got to have. If I could actually have an isolation chamber to write in, that's what I would do.
What geek TV are you watching, if you'll pardon the expression? Like, Doctor Who and stuff. What are your favorite TV shows like that?
Murder.
Well, what I really love right now, and there's only a few episodes out that I've been able to watch, but is the new Sherlock Holmes by Stephen Moffat.
Oh, yeah.
I'm just
Oh, yeah.
so enamored with that. But I don't watch anything like I might watch a Doctor Who occasionally, but I don't ever watch them in order. I just don't have that relationship with my TV.
That's all right.
That's all right.
I have a relationship with the computer lately. Like everything I watch is, well, it's not that kind, but every time.
I was going to say I don't want to know.
Yeah. Well, this is safe. Everything I've watched is because now I have that dual monitor system, so I could put a movie on while I draw. So Superman.
Yeah, see, now that's totally
Superman
different.
2.
If I did that, I'd never get anything done.
Yeah.
And
I
whatever
understand.
words I'm hearing on the television I'd be typing them because that's what I do.
Well, in our
People
defense,
outside people talking.
yeah,
then
in our
the words
defense,
get on the paper.
we're not really watching it. We're mostly listening to it.
Yeah, mostly. Yeah, it has to be a movie
Yeah,
that
no, I hear you.
you kind of memorized and stuff. You kind of know the whole movie by heart, and this way you know what's up there.
Yeah. No,
Oh,
I
yeah,
understand. It's just different for a writer, I think.
Yeah.
Well, I know you're itching to see Harry Potter this weekend. Have you seen the other superhero movies that have been out so far? Have you seen everything?
I've seen Thor, and I've seen Green Lantern, and I saw X-Men.
First
Is
Class?
that all that's come out? Yeah, X-Men
I think
First Class.
Okay, those are the three.
Yeah.
What do you think?
Yeah.
What'd you think?
I liked Thor a lot. I was pleasantly surprised, and I had this great experience where I was in Rancho Cucamonga for free comic book day, and the store owner there had rented out an entire theater for the midnight showing of Thor. So it was a whole theater of comic book readers.
Awesome.
And nerds, and so everybody was laughing and screaming in all the right places, and there was quite a few female fans in there as well, and there was this one point where Thor comes on the screen, and this is just like the perfect moment for me in terms of, being a female in the comic book industry. And
Did he have his
Thor
hip
comes
hugger
on
jeans
screen,
on?
and he's all hunky and everything, and this girl behind me goes, "I'm pregnant." I think because we've heard comments like that, of course, from all the guys watching the movies with the beautiful women that come on screen. So I was just like, this is awesome. And the same thing similar happened in the Green Lantern movie too, when he's running around without a shirt. The girls are all like,
Terrific. There you go. We had X-Men First Class to get excited about. That's all right. It all balances out.
That's
yeah,
awesome.
well, true. And I actually I really liked the script for X-Men First Class a lot. I was, really, really happy with that film. And Green Lantern 2, I thought was a lot of fun. I have some difficulties with the first third, but after that, I thought it was really great. So I look forward to the second one.
Yeah, we understand. I think we talked about that last time, too.
It's true with Francis. We talked with Francis Manipul about that.
That's right.
Oh, did you?
Indeed. Absolutely. Yeah. Well, it was a little, like we said, it was a little clunky. It looked like some scenes might have been missing. At least that was my perception.
I sort of like, I love the whole idea of it, and the special effects were awesome, and getting introduced to all the characters, and Sinestro was great, and all of that, but it did feel like a bunch of scenes that maybe needed a through story, so I don't know.
Yeah, some sort of bridge, exactly. So, I don't know. I think I keep blaming the editor, Stuart Baird. Because
I don't know. I wouldn't want to say too much because I want people to make up their own mind, but that was just my reaction. And I've only seen it once, so I may change my mind on second viewing. Who knows?
No, I understand. And I keep telling people if they really want to see it, to go see it, because there's enough good things in it that it's worth seeing. And like you said, too, I think they're going to fix it for the sequel. I mean, and there
was like just fantastic scenes in it, for sure.
Yeah.
The space scenes were amazing. The space fighting scenes look fantastic.
Yeah.
And saying all the aliens look great. Yeah.
Yeah, I liked it. And some people were making fun of the main villain in it, but I thought it was great.
Yeah, Hector Hammond. I thought he was
very
good.
Creepy.
Yeah.
I thought it was very creepy.
He had a nicely shaped skull, that guy. Looked good.
It's true.
We saw a fight on HBO where at the end of the fight, the guy looked like half of a Hector Hammond. It's a true story.
That's right. We were just watching boxing. It's totally true.
It's true.
I believe you.
Yeah.
It's not good. It was a bad head one.
We always speak truth, Gail. Hey, when are we going to team up our stuff?
Well, I have a couple questions for you guys, if you don't mind.
All right.
I wanted to know, because I've never really heard the story about how Art and Franco broke in, they got Tiny Titans, and how did you know that you wanted to collaborate?
We when we first met, I we talked about before, but when we first met,
let's make up a new story.
Yeah. Well, Franco, we got to make sure that you were still angry and I was still irritating you.
Yeah.
And but I first met him and he was angry and he was yelling at a fan for reading all his books, and the guy was telling Franco that he sucked and stuff. So after Franco threw that kid out of there, and then I go up and I start asking Franco if I could look at his books and stuff like that. But we just became buddies because we got to spend time at a convention for 3 days that nobody came to the show. Yeah. So we ended up reading each other's books. And then it turned out, like, at the time I lived like 20 minutes from the guy, so we started hanging out and drawing and making up stuff, and that's pretty much it. And then I show him a character.
He's the only guy who would actually work with me. I tried with like 50 other guys first, but nobody took.
Yeah, it stuck. It finally stuck, But when we were working together, like I'd go to his house and draw my characters, and we were publishing our own books separately in our own little companies. And then once I said, "Hey, check out this story," and then I said, "I'm stuck here. What do you think?" And then he'll say, "Well, why don't you do this and that? Hey, that's funny." And then that's how we started writing together, pretty much. Mm. And then.
Oh, that's cool. Yeah, it's that kind of magic doesn't happen too often, so that's why I was wondering, how it happened with you guys.
Yeah, and we
have the same, age mentality, because we both think like 5-year-olds, so it helps.
But when we went to when we go to conventions too, we just like setting up the table now. Like we bring our stuff and just setting up our table. We don't tell each other what to do. Like, we just automatically know how the table should look and how to set up. And even when we met, we our first show together, we said, "Hey, maybe we'll save money next year at Wizard World and we'll split a table." Yeah, okay. And at that time, we were doing the same thing. Like, we integrated our comics instead of separating them. So we set up a table and made it look cool. But It was the first time ever where I would set up a table with another artist, and I wouldn't have to fight for space, and we equally understand. You know, like sometimes you get 3 artists, and hey, let's split a table, and everybody's fighting because you cross the line.
Yeah.
One guy sells out of his books, and one guy sells nothing, and so it was the first time where we got along that way too.
We would always try and sell each other's books as well. You know, when I set up with other people before that, you know, they would always hawk their own stuff. And with Art, he's like, "Hey, you just bought one of my comics. You should try one of my buddies. Buy this. You know, we'll give you a deal on it." And it was very symbiotic right from the start, and it's worked well.
Yeah,
I love that.
We have to team up with you now, Gail.
Yeah.
That would be amazing. I would love that.
We get 2/3 of the table though, so don't try and get any more.
Yeah, you can't be hawking your own
That's
stuff.
Okay. I don't need that much room.
Yeah. For every Secret 6 you buy, someone's got to buy a Tiny Titans. That's the deal.
That's right.
There you go. Hey, Gail, you used to write Simpsons comics. Now that right? Did you do it for a while?
Oh yeah, I still
That's what I
do
thought.
short pieces.
Okay. I was wondering, and I know that there was kind of a weird barrier, and I'm guessing it may not be there since the restructuring of DC. But did you ever want to write for Mad Magazine and ever have ambitions to write for Mad?
I don't know. You know, I really enjoyed when I was writing the column You'll All Be Sorry, because it was just kind of goofy parodies that were mostly for my own amusement, and it just happened that other people thought they were funny too. But I'm more of a situation storytelling, you know, humorist than a gag after gag humorist. Does that make sense?
Yeah.
So, I mean, I love Mad Magazine, and you know, it would be fun, but it's not something that I see myself, you know, doing regularly. Yeah.
Okay. Because I do
like parody pieces, and I really love The Onion and Mad Magazine and all that kind of stuff, but I like telling stories.
Okay. Because honestly, I was thinking of You All Be Sorry. I have the book. And it is fun to kind of read the whole thing collected like that. And I was like, oh, you know, that's interesting. I could kind of see you writing for Mad, but that's cool. I could see it being a different sensibility.
You write good stories.
I could see myself writing pieces for them too, but on a regular basis, I don't know. You know. Oh
no, and I understand that. No, and believe me, I think everybody, you know, I'm sure everybody listening is like, no, we want her to write the stories, damn it. And I feel that. I feel that way too.
You're yokoing everybody's dynamic.
Yeah, I'm known to Yoko the dynamic of Art and Franco. I am the Yoko Ono of this.
Yoko Chips
paradigm. Yes, no question.
We like them though.
Absolutely. Now, guys, you should talk to her about Superman because you know, Gail. Are you the only woman to ever write Superman?
I don't know.
No,
to be honest, I'm not sure.
Yeah, Louise. Excuse me, Weezy did.
Louise
right,
did,
Weezy Simonson, and also Barbara Kiesel too. Barbara Kiesel did.
Exactly.
Okay.
Yeah, I didn't remember as being the only one, and I'm sure people would have pointed that out to me. You know, so
no worries.
Oh, you're awesome.
So, and honestly, that action run, it was so brief, but I loved when you and John Byrne were doing action. That was fantastic.
Yeah.
Oh, thank you. That was fun. I enjoyed it too. I wasn't sure at first. I was like, "Oh, Superman!" I just heard. I've been on panels and been, you know, at dinners with other writers and stuff, talking about how difficult Superman was to write. He's too powerful and he's too this and too that. And so I just wasn't sure. And then when I just kind of dumped everything I'd heard out of my mind and just started thinking about who Superman is, then I really fell in love with him all over again. He's not too powerful. He's not, you know, all these things that other writers were having objections to, and I really enjoyed it.
At any point during your run, did you contemplate putting a Richard Pryor type character into your storyline?
No.
Oh, good.
No,
okay.
only one of those.
All right, Artie, you got to ask her. You got to ask her which one is worse.
Have you seen Superman 3 and Superman 4? Miss Gail?
Yeah, it's been a while though.
Do you remember which one? I know they're both bad, but which one do you think is better? Because
Superman 3 or 4? Is that what you're asking?
Yeah.
Which one's better?
Yeah. It's just a question.
Yeah, I don't know. I liked the first too.
Yeah, all right. Well, that's good. That's a good answer.
But that's kind of interesting, though, because I was going to say I figured that Gail might like 3 because of the Lana Lang storyline, too.
Oh, yeah.
No.
Yeah, I like that. Okay, yeah.
It's awesome.
Art's a Superman 3 hater and actually got us to reconsider Superman 4 as still a bad movie, but at least has a lot of good Superman story plots and plot
good
points.
intentions.
Yes, a good intention movie. Exactly.
But you know what I recently saw you on is I saw you on a Superman footage that you were talking about it. Was that
documentary?
I think the death of Superman,
Oh, yeah.
right? That was cool.
Well, yeah, that was an interesting experience. I hadn't really been writing comics all that long, actually, when they filmed that. It was.
Were you Did you write some of those stories? Did you write some of those Death of Superman stories, or the funeral for a friend? No, I don't know.
I didn't write those. What they asked me when they called me to see if I wanted to be on, if I could be on the documentary, was that I had written Superman, and that I also at the time was doing they were doing all this stuff because of the new Superman movie coming out, Superman Returns, getting ready to come out. I was doing a Pepsi Superman tie-in thing that was online. It was like a strip that you could go online and read. And so that was kind of my connection, sort of, to start with on that.
Yeah, that was the Kevin Spacey before Superman Returns. That's not the Death of Superman documentary, Artie.
Right.
Oh,
you're crossing wires, but that's all right.
Oh, I know. I saw her. You look nice.
Totally. Oh, yeah.
No, it was on the one that came out right along with Superman Returns.
Oh,
there you
okay.
go.
You had nice hair in the video too. You look nice. Yeah. Yeah, you did.
I
You
was
look
still a
nice.
hairdresser at that point, actually.
There you go.
Yeah, see,
Part-time.
I could spot him.
Well, at what point?
Spot him.
At what point did you decide? Yeah, I'm quitting my day job to do this.
Yeah.
Because I still haven't gotten to that point yet. I still have my day job.
Do you? It was a crazy, actually. It was the craziest thing because, I always was a storyteller from a very young age, I don't know, you might want to say liar, whatever. And,
I'm right there with you.
And I was told and kind of realized early on that I liked writing stories once I could write, and I was writing pretty, like, beginning, middle, and end type stories by second and third grade easy. And the teachers would give comments and stuff, and I liked it, and I said at one point I wanted to be a scientist, and then after that I said, I really want to be a writer. But my family said, there's no way you're ever going to make a living as a writer. You've got to have a backup plan. Just no way. So I was going to university for English, literature, creative writing, and with a minor in theater. And I just got to where I could not afford to stay in college. And I did need a backup plan. And so I went to hairdressing school and became a hairdresser, and I earned a pretty good living doing that. But I got to the point in my life where I needed something more creative, something creative to do that wasn't hairdressing. And so I started goofing around with the parody pieces that led to the You'll All Be Sorry column. And then I still had my salon and was working, really long hours on it like I always did. And then writing through the night. I was hardly sleeping during this time. And that went on for quite a while. And then, so I was like, I had this secret identity at night, where I'd be writing these crazy little parody pieces. And then I got work with Simpsons, and they paid really well, but I still was terrified that would end any moment, and I didn't want to, not have my salon because that was a stable income. And then I got work. I did Killer Princesses with Leah, and then I got work with Marvel doing Deadpool, and I was getting busier as a writer, but I still was terrified. So I'd cut I'd go from 5 and 6 days at the salon to 4 days, and I did that for a long time. And then when I got Birds of Prey at DC, I was getting busier and busier. And so I cut back, to 3.5 days. And I just kind of kept doing that. And then finally DC offered me an exclusive that was a long enough term that I felt like, okay, if I'm ever going to see if I can make a living writing, now's the time. I'll never have this offered to me again, I really felt.
Oh, that's awesome.
So, because of that, I was able to finally let go because it was really hard for me to let go. And at first it was a major adjustment going from a very social career to a very isolated career.
I like your secret origins. It's almost like you were Batman, like, Wayne Enterprises during the day, and then
my Batcave at night.
Yeah.
No, she's more like
My
Batgirl.
family didn't know. Nobody knew. I didn't want to tell anybody. I remember one day coming out and saying to my husband, I think I have a way that I could earn a little bit of extra money.
That's cool.
And, it was just so shocking because he's like, okay, go for it. And so we just, and I worked really hard doing 2 jobs and writing a lot. It was crazy. And, finally I was able to cut the strings.
Awesome. That's awesome.
I kind of envision you having a button like Barbara Gordon at her vanity. And, you do the turntable and then boom, the hairdressing chair cuts away and then there's a desk with a typewriter. Secretly, her identity of Gail Simone.
Yeah, that's right.
She sits down and starts typing.
It was kind of weird at first because I was on the phone with editors on and off so much while cutting hair that it was like getting really ridiculous. So I bought a headset and so that I could cut hair and talk on the phone at the same time. And then that was getting kind of annoying to my clients. At first it was okay, kind of exciting, things going on, but then it's getting annoying because I'm on the phone all the time while cutting their hair.
Did you make a mistake on anybody's head?
No.
Oh,
That a girl. Nobody's perm was on too long or whatever. The foil's on too long. All right.
Good.
We lost whatever you just said there, Gail, to the ether. Say it again.
I just said I'm a huge multitasker.
That a girl.
Oh, yeah, tasker.
Yeah. I've had I think that's why, because people are telling me I should leave my day job, but my day job is very fulfilling creatively as well. So I think that's why I'm able to say,
Yeah, and that there's nothing wrong with that. If I, would have felt that it was the reason actually why I've made the final decision, besides the fact that DC offered me exclusive, is I wanted to be able to travel. And hair salon and traveling do not go together. Your clients want you there when they want you there.
Yeah.
Sure. No, that makes sense. So yeah.
That I just finally decided, well, I've always wanted to travel. I've always wanted to write. What the hell,
Mm-hmm.
And you're like a total globetrotter, Gail. I know you were in China, and I know this year you were in Australia and everything. Do you keep a notebook with you in terms of, this is a cool location, I gotta, send now it'd be, I guess, sending Barbara Gordon wherever.
That's right.
Yeah, I mean, I don't know about keeping a notebook. I wish I was that organized, but I got the file cabinet in the brain.
Yeah. We got a call from...
and lots of pictures, and I buy lots of books when I travel, too, to bring back with me and make connections with people that are in that area, which is great, because then when I have questions, I can email them and ask, basically anything I want to.
That's cool. I know when you were in, I think it was Australia, right? When you were with Dan Slott?
And Van Sciver, yeah.
Yeah, because he called us while he was there, and it was just me and Johnny were talking, and he just ended up coming up on Skype. And I was like an instant fanboy because, I like his Spider-Man stuff. So it was real weird. Like all of a sudden it's, what's his name again? Dan Slott.
Dan Slott.
Yeah, Dan Slott.
You're a big fan, obviously, yeah.
I just got a pop-up. I just got a pop-up here. I'm like, what the? But
it is kind of surreal. I did an interview back, in the U.S. when I was in Australia, too, and I was sitting along, this waterfront area that was gorgeous and talking on the phone about comics, and I was just like, wow, my life has gone insane. This is so amazing.
Yeah. Do you ever fall in love with a culture where, you come back and all of a sudden Catman is speaking in an Australian accent or something like that? Or...
Yeah.
No, but it definitely, I create new characters based on that, and I have some new stuff coming up that is based on people I've talked to that maybe have certain disabilities or certain religions or, from another culture. And it's kind of fun, too, because Aryan, the artist for Batgirl, he's from Jakarta. And,
oh, wow.
I've never been there. I met him briefly when I was in Singapore, and that was the first time he'd ever been out of Jakarta. So it's very interesting, and the art is so gorgeous. Oh, my God. And then Yildiray, I believe, is from Turkey originally.
That's right. Yep.
So it's just been, not only do I have this information from my travels, but also my coworkers and co-creators.
Who drew the promo piece for the new Batgirl book? Do you remember? Was it one of them, or was it somebody else? Was it Ari?
Well, I'm not sure which one you're talking about. Adam Hughes is doing the covers.
Oh, it was probably an Adam Hughes cover that we saw, but go ahead.
Yeah, it could be. And then Arden's doing everything else. So
very cool. What's Yildiray working on?
Adam or Arden. Firestorm.
Awesome. Oh, that's great. I love his stuff. Yeah, I'm a huge fan of when he was working with Paul on the Legion. It was great stuff.
Oh, you just wait. This is absolutely. I'm telling you.
You're writing that with Ethan too, right?
Yeah, Ethan and I are co-plotters, and then I'm scripting, and Ethan's doing the covers,
cool.
And then Yildiray's doing the interiors. And for those of you who know Ethan and know like caliber of his art, and how he's not satisfied if one line is out of place, and all of that, and he was very skeptical at first when DC suggested that Yildiray be the artist. And now he's totally sold on Yildiray. He loves Yildiray, and it's so cool seeing their emails back and forth about the art. I can't wait for people to see it. And he's doing this gray wash technique that when it's colored, there's no other comic that looks like this. This is fantastic.
Exciting. That's awesome. That's really great. And yeah, I've met Yildiray and Mahmoud Answar.
I haven't met him yet.
Great guys.
Email and stuff.
No, good guys.
And what's it like working with Ethan on this?
I love working with Ethan. We've been working together on our Top Secret project for quite a while.
Oh, yeah.
So we knew what it was like working together, and DC had asked me about Firestorm a bunch of times, and I said no. And
why for you?
Because I like Firestorm, but I just didn't see myself writing Firestorm. It wasn't something I was dying to, go out and write. And Ethan kept saying, no, Gail, I'm telling you, this is going to be the most amazing thing ever, and you have got to do it. And I kept saying, no, I'm not interested. Let's think of something else to do together. And Ethan literally kept at me, and then he came up with an idea that was so big and so great, and then over a 4-hour period, him and I just tossed ideas back and forth and came up with a pitch, and, both of us were very excited, and then DC was really excited too, so that's kind of how the whole Firestorm came about. I was very, very resistant, and now I'm just astounded.
No, I can't blame you, because I was kind of one of those people like you that I didn't mind Firestorm, but I just didn't understand the need ever to buy him as a monthly, even when Jerry Conway, came up with the character back in the day, too.
I loved his creation of Firestorm, and I love what John Ostrander did to it.
Absolutely.
But this is something that is taking some of those ideas and really turning them on their head and spinning them around and blowing them up.
Cool. Awesome. Hey, listen, are your hands burning from carrying the torch as DC's only woman creator, as I keep hearing? You're carrying the torch, Gail. And I don't mean that in a flippant way, because I respect you as a writer first and foremost. And honestly, I just had Kelly Sue on my show, and I honestly, I do appreciate the if there is pressure or whatever, and I think it's great that you are writing. I also know that they did approach other women, and just schedules didn't work or whatever. But I whatever. What do you think? You're the only one.
Well, it is kind of weird.
Okay.
I'm not going to lie about that.
That's
it's
awesome.
Weird, and I was glad to hear that they had reached out to try to hire, some other women. But, we're talking about the first wave of the relaunch right now.
Mm-hmm.
We've got more stuff coming down the road, so I don't foresee that that's going to stay that way.
Well, good.
Ooh, that's an exclusive right now.
Oh,
I didn't know that.
Oh.
That's cool. Oh yeah.
No, that's great, Gail. Honestly,
Spoiler.
I hope that all the familiar faces like Nicholas Scott and Kelly Sue, if she can get it something else, or I want to see Catherine Immerman do more at DC. I love.
Me too. Me too. And I like. Marjorie Liu as well.
Sure.
She's great. And Nicola is going to be doing something there. There's not a question about that.
Awesome. Fantastic. I finally got to meet her last year in New York, And actually, we met last year in San Diego too, but I got to spend more time with her in New York. She's awesome.
She's awesome.
Yeah, she is. She's great. Very talented, very creative person. And so, John, what are you hearing about the relaunch? What's the buzz you're hearing?
The same stuff I'm sure you're hearing and reading. I hear a lot of, I think, unfortunately, one-dimensional thinking people that are, well, that's it. And I can't believe it. I think because I'm in my 40s, I'm thrilled that it's happening. And most of the people that I've been talking to and have in comic stores or at conventions or on the podcast, fans that have been calling or writing, they are all excited. And the great thing is, I think so many people got excited by Flashpoint. I think they were ready to write it off, and it's been so much fun.
Oh,
and
awesome.
I think the news itself and a lot of the ideas people are excited about, some people are scratching their heads at some of these creators too, though. So I think it's a mixed bag. But personally, I'm very excited that all the other genres are being experimented with. I'm glad that they're opening up Westerns beyond Jonah Hex, and really excited about the Black Hawk book and the new take on a modern Sergeant Rock. I think is worth looking at. And Fialkov, I'm really happy for Josh for getting iVampire. So, and Jenny Frison, there you go. You're not alone. Don't worry. There's someone else that needs the ladies' room. It's Jenny Frison doing covers on iVampire. She's a local girl.
We've got female artists, but there aren't that many right now.
Understood.
There will be.
Understood.
If I was female, I'd be an artist.
I'd read that.
I would. It's true. I can't help who I am. All right.
Well, I think, the reactions were really strong because people are just taking what they're seeing in the solicits and maybe, a couple art pieces and then drawing their own conclusions on what they think is happening. And I guarantee that the most part, they're not correct. So I'm very excited. I mean, it seems so weird to, look at a book like Wonder Woman and see Brian Azzarello, but
Absolutely.
I'm so excited. I love his work. I love his writing. I really respect the way he thinks about characters and stuff. So I'm actually really excited to see what he does with Wonder Woman. That's like, I'm thrilled. And then to bring back Swamp Thing with Scott Snyder, come on. And with Yannick doing the art, it's amazing.
Yeah, his stuff on Batman is just awesome right now.
And American Vampire is an amazing book too.
Yeah, I have the trades. I haven't read that yet. But
horror back in, and that we're actually, I love Paul Cornell's writing, and I think that what he's doing is interesting. That they're finally, because we weren't doing too much stuff that took place in different time periods for a while, so I'm very excited that they're opening that up as well. And the creative teams are amazing. I was skeptical at first, and I'm a fan and a reader of comics first before a creator, and so I have all my favorite things that I grew up with and that I love and everything too. But this is giving us a chance, and once people see these storylines, I mean, it's all about the execution. And how good is the story going to be, and how is it going to grab you and pull you in and keep you in and get you excited again, instead of being trapped by 60 years of storylines that make the characters feel old sometimes. I mean, I think let's just take Wonder Woman as an example, who's one of my favorite characters. Just because she has been around so long, she feels old, even if she's not written old. You know what I'm saying?
Absolutely.
And this gives us a chance to, I call it Sherlocking it, because I like that new series so much, and they've taken the classic characters that everybody's familiar with and loves, and they've fit them into a modern time, just like they did with the new Star Trek stuff. And so now we have the chance to have a whole new generation be able to love these characters like we did. And some of this stuff, if we don't change it, it starts to look silly after a while.
Well,
take nuclear power. It's changed a lot since Firestorm was created. So we've got to acknowledge that and bring this up. Technology's changed a lot. How we live our lives has changed a lot. We can't just keep things exactly the same all the time. It just doesn't even make sense. Novels even aren't written the same as they were 200 years ago.
They're all digital now, too.
And creatively, you guys are all creative, so I'm sure you hear what I'm saying. It just opens up so much, and it frees up so much that, it's very exciting, even though I will honestly miss some things that I love. Whoops, hold on.
Yeah.
I hear you.
Yeah. Absolutely.
We're picking up what you're throwing down.
I'm driving on her street right now because I'm understanding this.
Most of the people that hate what's going on, I think, might be younger people, and this might be their first relaunch, if not reboot. And I would just say that, John Byrne really brought Superman in modern times in 1986. And God, Frank Miller's Dark Knight was, granted, it was a future story and it was out of continuity, but that's what I mean. That's the kind of that's the kind of opportunity to really take a character and just jam him into modern times and say, now deal with really what's happening now, as opposed to kind of what becomes that cliched cliffhanger of a girl on the railroad tracks and the bad guy, twirling his mustache.
Yes, and things that seem really forward-thinking and were really forward-thinking at the time of their creation, after a while they just aren't. You've got to
25 years later.
Yeah, you've got to move on because we want to stay forward-thinking. I really feel that comics has had, some of the most creative, innovative creators in any medium, and so why would we want to just be backward? We just can't.
I think it's doing its job in two ways. One, it's gotten everybody really talking about the industry, and secondly, it's bringing in people who it needs to bring in. My wife has never really been a big comic book reader. She would read things occasionally, but always found it so continuity driven that she didn't get into it. And she said, I might read a lot of these new number ones that are coming out, just to get in on the ground floor and just see what's going on, and I think that's really what it's doing for a lot of people, or hopefully.
And that's what I'm very excited about with the two that I'm doing, the Firestorm and Batgirl, is most people that have heard me talk or that know my writing or anything know that Batgirl was the first character in comics that I personally identified with through the syndicated Batman show. And so I have, that character has been part of my life for a very, very long time, since I was a really young girl. And, I've written her as Oracle for a lot of years, and now I'm writing her as Batgirl. And and when she went from Batgirl to Oracle, that was pretty much a shocker for me as a fan too.
You bet.
But it gave us the opportunity to tell some really great stories with her as Oracle. There's a lot of meaning in the fact that she went through, such a horrible tragedy and picked herself up and made something of her life where she could help. But she can't be Batgirl again, having been full-on Oracle in a tower with all the money in the world at her disposal. The new Batgirl, she's a young woman who's struggling a bit. She's very, very smart. She's got a really difficult degree and can't really find a job in her chosen profession very easily because she is young and smart, and that's difficult a lot of times. So she's still the same characteristics that we love about her, but she's a little younger. She's doesn't have everything given to her like we had gotten to with the Oracle. And I'm very excited about these stories we can tell. There's a lot of very raw, emotional, personal stuff in the new Batgirl book that I'm very excited. And they asked me numerous times to take Oracle to Batgirl, but it just never made sense to do it the way that it would have to have been done at the time. And given this opportunity to tell this through story, how she goes from Batgirl and what happened in The Killing Joke, and then becomes what she is now in the new Batgirl book. I'm so excited, and I would not have agreed to do it if I didn't think something positive was going to come out of it. So I'm very excited about the opportunity that we can tell these stories that we're telling with her now. I don't know. I can't wait for people to see it. I'm very excited.
Yeah.
It looks absolutely freaking amazing.
Yeah, I'm looking forward to that one a lot.
The covers by Adam are so powerful, especially number 2. I think he really hit his stride with the second one.
Well, I can't think. Go ahead, and then I'll talk.
And Ardian, he had done an issue of Birds of Prey, and when they first said, we'd like Ardian to be the artist on this, I was like, oh, no, because he had been so rushed when he'd done Birds of Prey. They kept pulling him off of Birds of Prey to do other things, and so I never really got to see his full, concentration of art. in Birds of Prey. But in Batgirl, oh my God, it's just, I mean, every page that comes in, I am just stunned. It's got the beautiful shots of Batgirl in action. We've got some new villains that are absolutely horrifying. And then the personal moments that go on, the acting and the facial expression, everything in it is just, it really is stunning. I haven't seen a comic that looked this good in a really long time.
Cool.
That's great, Gail. And well, first of all, I know that fans were relieved that you were going to be telling the further adventures of Barbara Gordon and kind of getting us, as you say, from Oracle to the current version of Batgirl. But also, I think a lot of kids grew up with, unfortunately, the way the animation depicted Batgirl, which always was kind of a female Robin in a sense. I think in some of those Fox cartoons back in the 90s and stuff. And really, if you read those Frank Robin stories or and I forget who else might have been writing her for Batman, if it was Batman Family, if it was Bob Rozakis or whoever, but she always was her own hero. And it really wasn't that sidekick role that I think animation might cloud some people's judgment on.
Yeah, no, and the fact that I believe that of all the Bat characters, that she's the most raw, intelligent.
I understand.
So,
yeah.
That sets her apart a little bit. And this Batgirl book, it is a little more like the Bat books than maybe you would say Birds of Prey was, but it's all in a very, very good way. But she's not a sidekick. She's got her own book, her own life, her own reasons that she does things, and her own struggles. This is very interesting for her that she, isn't in the chair now.
Hey, can I ask my? I'm going to ask my usual question. I've been asking all the DC creators that are involved with the 52 launch in particular, and it's not at all a spoiler question. It's more structure. No, it's structure. Structure.
Oh, okay. Structure.
Thank you. No, I'm wondering. This first issue, everyone is talking about trying to grab this new digital audience, and we're all indoctrinated. All of us on this broadcast right now are used to going every Wednesday and getting our books, waiting 30 days for the next chapter. I wonder about this iTunes-minded digital audience and the thought of, having to wait 30 days for the next chapter. Is it making you rethink writing a first issue or really every issue of a however many part story arc to really, almost go back to that Bronze Age or Paul Levitt style where every issue is its own thing, but there's kind of a connected through thread of a story or whatever?
Well, there is that, but with Batgirl so far, and with Firestorm, we've got a huge story we're telling with a lot of little subplots. Batgirl is one character, her life, and what she's dealing with. So there is 3 stories and things that continue on and stuff, but I think anybody can probably pick up an issue of Batgirl and get caught up real quickly.
Cool.
So, it's more for me project by project, but I am aware that we're getting, hopefully more of a digital audience as well. But for instance, I am in a small town, and until recently there was no comic store.
Okay.
So I had to drive an hour and a half each way to the nearest comic book store to get my comics, and I couldn't do that every Wednesday, especially with work and this and that, and sometimes in the winter it's just not passable, and couldn't get them, and there was nobody to talk to about comics. And now, and that's how I got involved with Yabs in the first place, is, oh my God, there's communities that you can go online and talk to people about comics. So I think that, that people who want to buy the hard copies will be able to buy the hard copies, but people who don't have the access will be able to buy them digitally. And I'm excited about that. If I could have done that, it would have been awesome for me. And also, I have a son who's in college, and they're used to reading things digitally, and he thinks it's the coolest thing ever.
Yeah, that's awesome.
Well, I guess the only thing I want to clarify is it's that worry about that first issue and that it may end open-ended, and I don't know the answer to this, and I'm not saying that any of us do, but that initial reaction of, oh, that's it? I thought I was getting a whole story. Well, I want Gail. Forgive me, Franco. Honestly, I really because I'm saying for selfish purposes, I really want to hear what Gail thinks, and I do want to hear what you think as well. But yeah, so can you clarify that in terms of a first issue deal?
I like giving readers the benefit of the doubt. I
Okay.
like thinking that people can figure out that if they liked the story and it feels like there should be more, that they can continue with the story as it comes out. We're used to doing that on television with, weekly shows that everybody gets hooked on. It's not that different, in my opinion. And then if they want to wait till several issues or the complete story is out, they can do that too. There's so many options now that I just don't know why it's even a problem or a question.
Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah, honestly, and believe me, I'm not. I hope I don't even know if I'm right or wrong. I hope I'm wrong, and I don't want. No, seriously, yeah. But no, honestly, Franco, what were you going to say?
Well, if we're on Family
People
Feud,
are used to serialized stories. I mean, they really are. Right. I mean, you'll have, let's just take Bones, because I watch Bones. Not as it comes on TV, because I don't keep track of the schedules. But, we've got a mystery that they need to solve, but we've got relationships going on with the main characters and some, peripheral characters as well, that if you just want to watch an episode of Bones, you can watch an episode of Bones. But if you really want to know everything that's going on, then you kind of want to watch them in order or in a clump or whatever. I believe people are used to that. And I don't see why that's that much different with comics.
Well, I agree, but weekly television, and I hope you're right. I hope that every issue is like that, like an episode of TV, that they can just be satisfied with that read, and if they want to go further, they can. But that's my concern is a lot of 6-part stories, that first part is really a first part. It doesn't have a conclusion other than whatever the cliffhanger is, and unlike television, you got to wait 30 days.
Yeah.
That's all I'm saying.
What I was going to say before is if we're on Family Feud, I'm going to say good answer. Good answer, Gail. Good answer. Because we're used to the society nowadays where, you have Harry Potter, you have so much time between books and then so much time between movies. So I don't think that argument really holds.
I don't think it hurts the audience.
Yeah.
It doesn't.
Well, but those are books. Those are books, not chapters.
These, Johnny?
But no. But what I'm saying is, honestly, man, no, wait, because it's that's what I'm saying is these things sometimes read like chapters, and I'm not pointing fingers at any of you. If anything, you guys certainly know you tell self-contained 5-page stories and stuff. But that's what I mean. Honestly, I it's that fear of, I just spent $2.99 and all I got was the first chapter. Because the analogy I made with Azzarello was he shot back and said, it's so different than buying a song from an album. And I said, well, yeah, it is, because the song has a finish to it, even though it's from an album. And what sometimes, a multi-part story is, well, that was the first verse. If you want to come back for the chorus, I'll see you in 30 days. And then 30 days more for the next verse. And again, guys.
I know what you're getting at, John, but I just don't, I don't think that's going to be a problem.
Okay.
Stories are compelling. If stories are compelling enough and people are interested in what's going on, they'll be back 30 days later, or they'll wait and get several at a time or whatever.
They will come back.
The option to do whatever way you prefer to have your story is pretty much going to be available to you now.
Cool.
Yeah. Didn't Charles Dickens
and I don't see how that's a bad thing.
That way? Yeah.
Yes, he did. Charles Dickens did. Conan Doyle did as well. But they didn't have an electronic newsstand and they didn't have an MTV generation.
No, but they had fancy tea parties, Johnny.
They threw all their tea overboard. They didn't want that damn tea.
They had cotillions and stuff like that they had to go to, didn't they?
No, I get all that. No, it's just there's this digital shift that's going on, and I hope that the digital audience shows. I want the digital audience to show up. I want as many comic books as DC, Marvel, every publisher can afford to put out, and I want all my friends working, and I want and honestly, I really and I want to read fun stories. Totally. What's that? Amen. Atta girl. Exactly. And I want a lot of women.
Thirsty, my friends.
It's true. Right. But no, honestly, that's why it's like I want to see this work too, and like that's my outside question in terms of how they're going to react.
Maybe I'm just an optimist, but I really see this as a great opportunity to build the audience and build the business. I think if we kept doing it the way that we were doing it, that the chances that it wasn't going to exist 5 years from now are pretty high.
Sing it, sister.
So,
yeah.
So I talked to people in the age group that we're concerned about, because that's the age group my son is in, and I know how they live their life and how they get their information and their entertainment, and I just don't feel worried.
Okay. I like it. It's good. This is why I have a talk whenever it's a panel or whatever. It's like, get up there, say your thing, tell everybody you want to write Mary Marvel, and then we'll pass it on to Ethan Van Sciver. Go ahead.
Like that.
I want to say, Gail, this is a testament to really how much respect we have for you, because I think this is the most serious conversation we've ever had on this broadcast.
I think I went 12 minutes without speaking.
I just know
Did I get on my soapbox?
No.
But you know what? That 12 minutes I wasn't speaking. I was listening for 13.
Oh man. Are there any characters like low level, like inferior 5 level characters, Gail, that you've got like a story that you want to tell? Anybody of that level? You don't have to specify names, but are like
Johnny?
Exactly. I'll wait for the book.
I love doing that kind of stuff. I mean, I love taking a character like Catman and doing something cool with him. So I'm sure.
All I got to say is, right on, sugar.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
We get the Teresa Graves salute. That was good. Christy Love. I like it.
That's awesome.
Right.
Well, we don't want to take up more time away from.
Dane was pretty much, out of the picture forever too.
That's true.
Yeah.
I broke that man back, and then what? So I like doing that kind of thing.
That's awesome. I like that. Is Barbara Gordon not age appropriate now for poor Dick Grayson, or is that still a possibility?
I'll find a way.
Why don't you read the book, Johnny?
Have a relationship? Is that what you're asking? For them to still have a relationship? We touch on that a bit, but of course that's a spoiler that I'm not.
Understood.
Yeah.
We'll tell us after we.
I understand. It's that classic triangle: Dick, Stargirl, or Starfire, and Barbara.
Oh yeah.
Oh, Barbara. We got a Barbara too. So I feel your love, Gail, because we got Barbara going around in our book too.
She's a great character. I love Stephanie and I love Cass. And the truth is that I was asked to do the Stephanie Batgirl. And I just didn't, I like Cass so much, I just didn't see the reason or the point. And then they got Brian to do it, which turned out to be great, because then I fell in love with her character as a reader, not a creator. And so, I really identify with the people that are kind of all up in arms. Oh, but I love Stephanie. She's a Batgirl. She's my Batgirl and everything. She is. She's great. So I feel that, but I also think, like I said, if something positive wasn't going to come out of this, I would not have agreed to do it.
Yeah.
No, you've handled the debate pretty well, Gail. I liked you did a good op-ed piece on Newsarama, and I understood where Jill was coming from, and I can appreciate her perspective and everything. And as you said, I know you do, and it's very clear in that piece and stuff. And honestly, at the end of the day, too. Now, here's a crass answer. I mean, everybody, it's just that's what pop culture is. You say Batgirl, it's Barbara Gordon. You've got a show that's still on television, 45 years after it came out, and that's tough to compete with. And I mean, honestly, Brian Q. Miller wrote great Batgirl stories. There have been wonderful people who have worn the costume, but at the end of the day, it's Barbara Gordon, just like Clark Kent's Superman and Bruce's Batman.
You seem very passionate about this, Johnny.
Well, in convention after convention after convention, sitting next to artists and having people come up, and pay for their commissions and ask for sketches and stuff, and they'll ask for Batgirl. Very rarely is a Batgirl that's not Barbara Gordon Batgirl.
Yeah. You got it.
So, that is what has stuck. And that's nothing, nothing against the other Batgirls, because I think they were great and stuff, but it's just one of those things that, like you said, that's what people identify when you say Batgirl.
Yeah.
Most people think of Barbara Gordon.
Yeah.
And you know what, Johnny? Gail Simone's doing good today, sir.
Yeah.
I know. I like it. I know. We haven't had to ask the question.
I was like, are we doing good, Johnny? But I know we are.
Oh, no. I know
Gail's doing good.
Have you met Yvonne Craig?
Yeah.
I'm sorry, what?
Have you ever met Yvonne Craig?
I'm not sure. If I did, it would just have been in passing.
Oh, okay. Because, I was, I know you being such a big fan and everything. I didn't know if your paths crossed convention-wise or not.
Artie, didn't you meet her?
I did. And I met her and I talked to her, and I gave her a Mother's Day comic. And then after I was done talking to her, she squeezed antibacterial liquid into my hands. And I was like, what am I, I remember you from TV, but what am I supposed to do now? And she goes, "Oh my goodness, rub it." She said, "Oh my goodness, just rub it together because I have a cold." I'm like, "Oh," I'm like, it almost got awkward there. And then I remember I went back to my table. I guess I was really red in the face, and my buddy says, "Artie, why are you talking to that lady so long?" I said, "That was Batgirl." And he says, she's almost 60 years old. And I said, she wasn't always 60. When I remember her, I remember her being Batgirl. So no, I was talking to Batgirl.
Yeah.
I'm older too. Yeah, we're still in range.
That's kind of how Christopher Reeve was for me. Didn't matter. Yeah. He was Superman.
Did you get to meet Christopher Reeve?
I didn't.
Oh, okay.
No.
Because you know what? If I'm 30 years older at the time, that means she was 30 years younger when I remember her. So we were equal. I think.
Yeah, exactly. That's a cool way to look at it. I'll remember that when I'm 60.
There you go. Exactly. I like it.
Awesome.
I met Barbara Eden. That's the closest I came to meeting a female superhero. But I did meet Clayton Moore. The Lone Ranger, and he wore the mask.
Oh, cool.
And it was I was 5 years old. It was like meeting. I mean, I think that's one of the reasons why I still read comic books, because as far as I'm concerned, I met a real superhero because he was the Lone Ranger.
Did you do that little kid thing? Did you do that little kid thing when you see someone in a mask and you're like,
No, I knew who he was, and I was like, seriously, it was like meeting Santa Claus. And literally, he had that voice, and he's like, "Hello, friend, nice to meet you." And it's like, oh my God, it's him.
I remember.
It was seriously that and I met Buster Crabbe when I was 12, and I was certainly old enough to understand that it really wasn't Flash Gordon, but it was pretty damn cool anyway, nonetheless, that I met Buster Crabbe. So those are the two guys I met.
It's awesome. I remember when the cigar shop by my house when I was a kid, it was also a comic shop. They would sell comics at the magazine and cigars, and so they had one Saturday was Spider-Man and Wonder Woman were appearing, and when my dad took us, I was only probably 8 years old, maybe even younger. Maybe it was pre-Star Wars, maybe. So I had to be about 6 or 7. And we went, and I remember Wonder Woman had freckles and reddish brown hair. It was light brown hair. And I was looking at her, I'm like, no, she looks different. And then I remember Spidey looked cool because he's a skinny guy and sign his autograph and stuff. But I remember when we left, I said, "Dad, I don't think that was really Wonder Woman." And he said to me, "Yeah, it was." Yeah, that was her. And I'm like, all right. And it took me like 30 years later, I finally understand. Like, right on, Dad.
God.
That's awesome.
That's cool.
That's very funny. Even Jackson Botswick at conventions and stuff. And he,
Barry Botswick? The guy who played Washington?
Who played, isn't it Jackson Botswick? Wasn't he the guy that was Captain Marvel in the old Shazam series?
Yes.
All right, thank you. I've stumped the panel, clearly. All right, never mind.
You guys are nerding out.
Jackson Botswick.
Oh, please.
Yeah.
You've met us? You've met us, right? Yeah.
Exactly. Come on.
Yeah, Jackson Bostwick, he comments, or he used to, from what I heard, I could be making this up, but from what I heard, that he would comment on the Mego museum board about the Megos that people would customize. They would make custom Barry Bostwick Shazam figures. Yeah, and he would say,
all right, guys, we have to have a girl moment here.
Okay. They make girl Megos.
I have to have a little restroom break, so I'm going to put my husband on. You guys can ask him anything while I'm out of the room. I'll be right back.
Oh, yeah.
She needs a Tex Avery break.
Oh, we understand. We're sorry. We kept her like bladder busy. We apologize.
Man.
That's right.
That's not good, man. Sorry.
Hey, how are you?
Fine. How are you guys?
Oh, yeah, man. Hey, how was that pizza, sir? That Lou Malnati's is one of the best rated pizzas in Chicago.
Oh, see, now we have this huge debate in our house because I like the Chicago pizza, and she's crazy about that New York pizza.
I knew I loved her.
What?
I said
no,
I knew
she's wrong.
No, she's not.
But she's wrong. No, she's wrong. She's mistaken.
No.
She's terribly mistaken.
Oh, no. Absolutely.
I thought you guys were going to have like a nice, fun, nerdy discussion, and it sounds like you were giving her the third degree.
Oh, no.
I wasn't saying anything.
I'm sorry.
We were
Oh, no.
Do it again. Sorry.
It's the whole time. It's like
She can handle it, Scott. She's cool. No. We had fun.
she speaks. You're like,
I'm just kidding.
yes, Miss Gail. Yeah.
Hey, you really should try next time you're in Chicago, and I'm going to send Franco to this joint. Chicago Pizza and Oven Grinder on Clark Street. They have pizza pot pie, and it is incredible.
I'm not eating that, John.
Pizza pot pie.
It's honestly, Scott, if you look it up, you'll see a photo, and it is incredible, and it tastes as good as it looks. It's amazing. It was even featured on the Food Network.
I will be talking. I will try this out. We've made this sort of sojourn around to the different barbecue states, the states that are famous for their barbecue, and tried. Shut up. And tried all the different ones, so we've made a decision, but I don't think I'm allowed to say what it is. Anyway,
for
she's
barbecue?
back from her adventure. Yeah, for barbecue. We tried
right.
St. Louis and Memphis and Kansas City and all these different places that are supposed to be famous for their barbecue, and Texas to try them out. And we came to a conclusion, but we're not going to say what it is. Here's my young bride.
The spoiler.
Well, okay.
Spoiler.
Hello. You leave him alone for a minute, and he automatically goes to barbecue.
No, we like
No, we
us.
learned that you love New York pizza, and I knew I loved you because these guys are always like, Chicago pizza, and I'm like, no, New York pizza. Now, don't get me wrong. I'll eat the Chicago stuff every single time, but I'm a New York.
Yeah, me too,
I like
but I like
pizza.
them both, but now I'm gluten intolerant, so fuck.
Oh, right on.
Oh, man. Oh, bummer. Oh, that sucks.
It does. The last time I was in Chicago, they made this pizza for me that just had the sausage patty was the crust, and then they piled everything on top.
Oh, that's a good idea.
Yeah, it was okay.
That's a good idea. I like that.
That's a Chicago pizza anyway. It's just
Scott's coming to San Diego, right?
Yeah.
There you
And
go.
my son and his girlfriend too, so we're
Oh, nice.
party of nerds.
Yeah, too.
Oh, cool.
Hey, what panels are you doing, Gail? We're going to release this before San Diego.
Oh, yeah, you are.
I don't have the list right in front of me, but I'm doing the Her Universe panel,
Awesome.
and I'm doing the DC panel that's talking about the new 52.
Cool.
And then I'm doing a Batman panel.
Very
I think
nice.
that's it. I'm doing signings at Prism Comics and signings at the DC booth.
Do you have them listed on the website or something that you could direct people to?
.com.
Shoot, I don't know.
Okay.
She'll Twitter and Facebook it and Google Plus it. We'll be all right.
When I see you, I have a present for you. I have that secret, that tiny secret stick that I do for you.
I'm so impressed with myself that I was organized enough to know which panels I'm on already.
Awesome.
I'm impressed.
It's awesome.
I'm doing good just there.
Awesome.
When I see you out there, I have to give you that Tiny Titan Secret 6 I drew. So I gotta find you out there.
That's gotta be the best thing ever. Tiny Titans is the best.
Cool. You're awesome.
You're awesome, Gail.
Indeed.
Oh, yeah.
So you guys are still doing Tiny Titans through all this relaunch and everything, correct?
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah, we're
Why? Do you
just
know
turned in a
something
cover
different?
yesterday.
Do you know something we don't know? What happened? What's going on?
No, I don't.
You got any
just
scoops?
wasn't sure, so I had to check. No, I'm just happy and relieved.
Yeah.
Well, we do have some news. We can't give away what it is,
Still?
but we were greenlit on another book that we're going to be writing.
Yeah.
But
Woohoo!
it hasn't been announced. So
Still secret.
secrets.
Well, another Art Franco book is a good thing.
It's coming, yeah. We don't even know what date yet or what month or day or stuff. Well, it's going to come out on a Wednesday. We know that. It's going to be good.
Hey, Gail, you've done such a good job with you've done such a good job with animation. Not spoiling or anything like that, but is there more animation for you in your future?
I don't have anything planned at the moment, but I am going to be possibly writing an episode of a television show. That
Yay!
When I can say that, someone I can talk about it.
Excellent.
Hey, for the Batman Brave and the Bold episode, did you write the lyrics to the song too, or?
No, I didn't. I wanted to though, but I didn't. So I had someone else do that.
That's a great episode. Yeah, I interviewed the producers of that show, and those guys are great. And that really was an excellent series. So.
It was. I thought it was so fun, and I loved how unapologetic it was.
Yeah.
Come out
Good
with
stuff.
their episode, and it was awesome.
Yeah, and it was like great for kids, but God, a guy in his 40s who, like, I wasn't a Teen Titans Go fan, but I realized that it wasn't written for me. And Brave and Bold was anybody who used to buy those 100-page super spectaculars. It was like Dick Sprang Batman come back to life, and it felt so fun, and it was like great Silver Age and awesome
my
stuff.
My little 7-year-old nephew loved it too, so it was neat to see that it had a huge age range of an audience.
Yep.
You know, I
Totally.
love that. Although I did like the Teen Titans Go.
Yeah, I like that one too.
I think it was written for me. I love it. One of the lines where they're saying, like, I'm potatoing the couch.
Yeah, that's true. They never ended the series, which bugged me, because the last episode was Beast Boy seeing Tara in the city and her trying to pretend like she didn't know him, and then that's the way it ended. It bugged me.
Yeah.
So we got to continue it. We
Sorry.
got to write the sequel in Tiny Titans. Maybe the next
should do
book
that.
will do that.
That's a good idea.
That would be
What
fun.
happens? Yeah.
That would be fun.
Oh, man.
Well,
Yeah,
My only regret about the old DC continuity is the Justice Society. And I'm just I just love those costumes. Really, it's mostly the old timers because I love those costumes.
Yeah,
Screech.
I'm not
because
saying
they're-
anything.
Just because
What's
they're
that?
around 60 years old, that's why.
Yeah, I understand. What? The bad guy. What? All right.
Well, they probably asked them first, you guys want to get relaunched? I don't know.
I want to sit down.
I've been around for 60 years.
I know
all
something
right.
you don't know.
If
Oh,
Flash-
my.
if
Oh, that's
Flash
awesome.
says, yeah.
I like when. All right, that's good. We got a secret plan. Let Gail know, but don't tell anybody else. All right, don't worry. I like it.
I
Flash
know,
says, yeah,
no one else
good.
gets to know.
That's awesome. Well, that's
Now-
good.
now
And
we
I
got
feel
it.
better.
I know something now, too, then.
I can wait.
yeah.
It's all right.
You know what? I just found out two things.
Oh.
Oh, wait.
What?
No, that's spam. Sorry. And I was... What?
Anyway, Gail, this has been a lot of fun, and like I said, a testament to really how much respect we've had for you, because we've never been this serious with anyone on this broadcast. So
I even snapped at Franco. That's not bad. That's not
you
good.
did. You're going to catch flack for it as soon as we
Did
go
you
off the air,
snap?
too.
Oh my gosh, I harshed the mellow.
No, you're good, Johnny.
You harshed the mellow. That's awesome.
Harsh. That's like Yoko and the Dynamic a little bit.
It's true. I like it.
That's cool. But is there anything you want to plug before we go besides your Firestorm and your Batgirl that's coming out in September?
You got to check out Firestorm, and you got to check out Batgirl. And the thing that also is cool about Firestorm is, Ethan's a hardcore conservative, and I am a tree-hugging liberal, and we're really
You're the odd
really
couple
good
of
friends.
comics.
Yes, we're really good friends, and we argue about politics all the time, but we don't argue about what's a good idea and what's not a good idea. And that energy is on the pages in the script of the Firestorm comic, and I think it's kind of something that we really haven't seen before. And the closest thing in terms of huge concept is probably those first issues of Green Lantern with Ethan and Jeff in terms of the scope. So anyway,
Cool.
I just want people to understand that Firestorm is going to be cool.
Awesome.
And then, Ethan and I are still working on our secret project that we can't talk about. But there's really nothing else I want to plug for myself right now. But I think everyone should buy Tiny Titans
Well, and everyone,
they
if they,
should.
and Art and Franco's new book.
Yeah.
this
Oh,
is true.
yeah.
And if
Yeah.
anyone listening has not been reading Secret Six, shame on you, because it's a blast, and I've loved from Villains United on. It's been a wonderful series, and I'm sorry that you're not going to be a part of it anymore. But a great run, and making me care about a lot of characters that
If you do,
I would.
if
I'd
you
be
do
bummed
read-
if I saw that they were the bad
Thank
guys.
you. And those are all available in trade paperback for people that maybe might be interested and didn't catch them as they were coming out. And we may not have seen the complete end of it. We'll see.
Yay!
Oh, spoiler.
I will put this caveat out. If you're going to read Gail's run on Secret Six, you might want to get therapy before or after you read it. So,
And remember
and
to eat,
during.
enjoy.
Read the book, and then every Tuesday, go see her. Go see
and
her
make
dog.
sure you eat. And make sure
Usually
you
what
eat.
people do is they email me and tell me I need therapy.
Gee, I wonder why when you have a person saying, "Don't forget to eat your Grundy."
Yeah,
It's still my favorite line.
Your therapy is actually writing those things out on the page, and their therapy is in an office if they can't deal with it. So I wouldn't worry about it.
It's almost like therapy right now, even. But
yeah.
I like it. It's good.
Again,
Awesome.
Thank you for coming on. We know you're hectic and busy schedule, but it was a lot of fun having you here.
Yeah, it's
You're
called
awesome,
Harry
Gail.
Potter. That's all right.
Well,
Enjoy
thanks for
Harry
having
Potter.
me. No, I love all you guys. Yeah, I will.
You're
Atta
awesome.
girl.
Oh, you're
And we'll
awesome,
see you-
Gail.
We'll see you in a couple
I
of
have a
days in
shirt
San
that
Diego.
says Muggle on it that I will wear while watching.
Awesome. Awesome.
See you in San Diego.
Yeah, I'm going to
yes,
look at you when I'm
definitely.
there.
Yes.
Okay, I will
All right,
look at
take
you
care.
back.
Yeah.
Okay, bye-bye.
Bye-bye.
Yeah.
All right. In the meantime, yeah, you can follow us on Twitter, Facebook, and all that other stuff.
Oh no, we're not done because we
we're
gotta.
not
You
done.
could first of all, you could rip me for yelling at you.
Oh.
You know, I have to admit, you'll forgive me, and I'll let the listeners know this too. I totally went into sports radio mode. I'm so
okay.
sorry.
That's all right. No, I knew you had an agenda, and I stepped in the way, and you ran my foot over, and I knew to get out of the way. So
No, you get a free punch to the mouth when I see you, my man. That's okay.
I know. Well, maybe she plays sports, you know.
So that was good. I liked it. I'm like, oh my god, I turned into Mike North. Oh my god.
Mike Martin. What?
No, not my. Yeah, no, I wasn't. Wait a minute, I want to hear
you're like,
this.
I want her answer, not yours. Shut up, Franco.
No, because like I said, it was a totally selfish thing. I've been asking every DC creator this, and you guys know I want this to work. I want the digital thing to work, but that's I'm just curious if people are rethinking that 6-part story arc, and that's my question. That's like how Vanita on Newsarama has her big Q.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah, Vanita.
This is my big Q, if you'll pardon the expression, and I'll wear a long coat so nobody needs to see the tail on the Q. But this is my point. This is my question, and I'm asking everybody about it. So yeah, and Marvel creators too.
There you go, Gail Simone. I miss her. I hope she'll come back. Art Baltazar and Franco as well. And I hope you enjoyed it. I hope this makes you think about checking out the Aw Yeah podcast, which is also on the Spreaker platform. You can go to if you do your iTunes search for the Aw Yeah podcast or wherever you get podcasts, you'll find the Aw Yeah podcast. And I hope you'll listen to some of our great episodes. I'm thinking about re-releasing. We did a couple movie commentators. Movie. What do they call it? You know what I'm saying? Talking about movies, Planet of the Apes. But it's Sunday, man. My brain is off. But we talked about Planet of the Apes. We did one for Superman as well. I think we did one for Superman 2. If not, we should. In fact, I think we did ones for Superman 1 and 2. We keep talking about doing Superman 4 eventually. We really should do that one. But lots of funny conversations between Art, Franco, myself, sometimes occasional guests like Mark Wade and now Gail Simone as I represent these. But check out the Aw Yeah podcast wherever you find podcasts and give it a listen, will you? And subscribe. Thanks again for listening to today's Word Balloon. It was brought to you by Aftershock Comics. Great books, genre-bending books, great writers, great artists, a top-notch publisher that is stretching the limits of genre fiction and giving you some interesting books to consider. Things like Marguerite Bennett's Animosity and Donny Cates's Baby Teeth. Garth Ennis's Jimmy's Bastards and A Walk Through Hell. And great stuff from Cullen Bunn and Wando on Dark Ark. Cullen Bunn also kicking ass on the Brothers Dracul. Also, he's got a new book coming out soon, Knights Temporal. Looking forward to talking to Cullen about that. Joe Pruitt's horror anthology, Shock. Man, I've been a Joe Pruitt fan since his Caliber and Desperado years, and he's bringing it as well here at Aftershock. I look forward to having a conversation with Joe post San Diego once things die down. There's also Chris Sabella's Trustfall and Matthew Klickstein's You Are Obsolete. We'll be having more conversations with more Aftershock creators about their books, but you don't have to wait. You'll find full story descriptions, preview pages, and the diamond codes on these books to order through your local shop at AftershockComics.com. Thanks again for listening. If you'd like to subscribe to Word Balloon via Patreon, go to patreon.com/wordballoon or click on the Patreon ad on the front page of Word Balloon. Is Word Balloon worth the price of a comic book a month? Is it worth $1 a month? I hope so. I try to give you great conversations every week here at Word Balloon, and July's no exception. In just a few hours, joining this conversation with Gail Simone, another fantastic conversation with a good friend who's coming back, Kelly Sue DeConnick. A new conversation with Kel. Had a blast talking to her last week, and looking forward to presenting it to you in just a few hours. Be patient, it will be up soon. Until next time, Word Balloon is a copyright feature of Shaky Productions, copyright 2019.